In today's video, we're checking out the side of India the West doesn't know about. This is done by Slide Bean, so I'm gonna leave the original video down below, so go check them out. After this, we're going to be checking out a video called How Bangalore, India is Outpacing Silicon Valley, which sounds like a really interesting topic. So hang around for that one. That one will be out in the next few days, so subscribe to the channel if you want to see more reactions from me, and let's get started.
You just walk out and you come across this building that we genuinely thought was abandoned.
It's a railway station?
It belongs to the property. There will be an offer for you.
Ooh.
We're about to embark in a 33-hour flight across the world to India.
33 hours? I'm guessing that's with a layover.
Before I came to India, there was one word in my head to describe this country: chaotic. You can only really experience a city if you're on a scooter, not in a car.
Wow, that's brave. I
There's
would
this
not be able to do
picture
that.
Our side of the world has about India, and you can blame Hollywood, or you can blame just statistics without a lot of context. But the truth is that our image of India is incomplete. And I've struggled with this for years. I know firsthand how many tech companies are coming out of India. Many of them are good friends of mine. I know how much people in tech make and how much that contrasts with the rest of the country.
I don't know WeWork came out of India.
As high as 2 crore rupees per annum for IIT graduates.
I know how many of you watching are from India. But why? Why do so many companies come out of India? What advantages do they have for being here? What kind of life do entrepreneurs and startup employees live when they're making 10 times what the rest of the country is making? From the other side of the world, we just don't understand it. I don't understand it. So I needed to experience India myself. I spent 2 weeks talking to founders, experiencing Indian food and culture, and discovering a new side of India. A side of India that us Westerners hardly ever talk about, and that I had no idea was so big. More importantly, I discovered how statistics just fail miserably at painting a full picture of what India is like. I discovered how this chaos that we perceive is really a pool of innovation for tech companies, and how technology is transforming this country neighborhood by neighborhood and city by city.
Alrighties. It's gonna be interesting.
Back in 2017, I hired our first employee out of India, this talented UX designer, and he told us his salary expectation was $4,000. And I looked into every single statistic about Indian median income, and I could not wrap my head around
Major concern. We have around 95 million entered extreme poverty just in 2020.
The average adult in India makes around $2,600 per year. That's $220 a month. That means a salary of $4,000 or $48,000 a year puts you well into the 10% of income for the country. But there is so much more to this. For starters, that $220 a month income would allow most people to live a comfortable life.
I think my yearly salary when I started my career in Wipro, per month I was getting paid $250, $300. Back then, I was able to survive with that. I got my own car. I used to drive like 40 kilometers up and down every day.
Like a Nosara deja vu, this thing.
So lower cost of living, right?
Dreadful?
Wow.
Like cooking. If you compare the prices of groceries here in India, they're about 70% cheaper for the same product of the same brand.
That bracket of 10% earners in India, that's 130 million people. That's more than the entire population of these countries. India is big, vast. It'll soon outgrow China as the most populated country in the world.
Wow.
And there is that reality that Hollywood loves to exploit. Is that real hair? That's only part of India. What I experienced was high-income cities like Bengaluru or Chennai, where tech and startup jobs are giving people transformative income.
There's a whole lot of action on the markets. I've seen the city grow, literally grow out, right? From a time when we had just one place which is the city center to go hang out. Now there are so many micro markets. India has not had the kind of exits that US has, but there have been some exits, very high profile exits, which have minted millionaires overnight.
In 2021, India saw thousands of new tech startup companies founded and 46 new unicorns. A good chunk of those are based out of Bengaluru, Chennai, and Delhi. And you can see that concentration of companies. You can see coffee shops and the co-working spaces.
Interesting.
Do you know where we're going?
Srinagar.
The hotel.
I assume WeWork was founded
That's the
in India. I did not know that.
Oh, come on! Can't get money from neither of my accounts, which means we have we have some dollars, but not rupees. I feel uneasy if I don't
It's the
if I don't
worst.
have like any local currency.
Yes.
200 meters, turn right after Kotak Mahindra Bank.
I found two large trends with Indian startups. On one hand, tech for India. Those are like your payment gateways and your delivery apps. They're solving local problems and adapting technology that already exists in the West for a local market that companies like Uber just couldn't figure out
New Zealand does that
themselves.
as well.
So,
New Zealand does that.
I just woke up from my jet lag nap and I am really hungry right now, so I just need to.
Ooh, what is he gonna have? Oh, he's ordering off the local app.
And on the other hand, SaaS and enterprise tech. As a founder, you are probably their customer without even knowing that they're based out of India. They understand how to sell to US customers. They
Kayak.
understand how to compete in that world stage. More importantly though, the rise of tech startups means that more and more people understand how tech can transform their lives. The city is home to hundreds of colleges and universities. It graduates thousands of software engineers every year. They are joining the workforce with a good chance of making an income their families and the rest of India would never have access to. As a kid, for you as a kid, did you understand how tech could make your life so different?
I'm almost 40 years old. I was growing up like tech wasn't, didn't exist as a thing. Today, even among the people that we've hired, we've had so many people who've joined us while they were still in college. But then again, that contrast is significant. Like if I speak to some of my younger cousins or nieces who are in tier 2, tier 3 cities, they don't know.
I should probably explain what this tier system means. India uses a tier system to classify their cities. Essentially, they have cities going from tier 1 to tier 6, and they're generally classified by population. That's the official classification. So a tier 1 city will have 100,000 inhabitants or more. Tier 2 city will have 50 to 100,000 inhabitants.
Gotcha.
Tier 4, I guess, would be like a very small town. And so you have people coming from these places. They don't come from means, right? They don't have a good family name. They don't have connections. They didn't go to a good school.
I think that what you have to understand about these tiers, it's this contrast that we have from the India that we've been painted to, which is probably cities that are not tier 1. This is a reality of India that we did not get to explore, and I don't pretend to understand. It's what surprises us about India is just how different tier 1 cities are from what we expected it would be, and just this incredible access to opportunity, and how people are slowly beginning to understand how a job in tech can transform their lives.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
Doctor. Police. IAS officer. I want to become a good architect and serve the society.
I think the gap between somebody going to a good university here and what they might make versus going to like a tier 3 or a bit lower college and what you would make is huge. So cost of education at all levels has increased dramatically.
The criticism has been that private universities charge very high fees and there's no cap on that.
When I did my MBA 13 years back
in India,
the cost of that degree to what it is today is almost 6x.
There is so much more pressure on you as a kid to get to a good school and get to a good college and get to become a computer engineer and get to a tech job.
We know that India has this very ambitious plan to become a global electronic hub.
In Chennai, the bubbles that these high-income jobs create are visible and they're tangible. You pass them by as you drive and you see the contrast, brutal, side by side. So this is the IT Expressway. Like, this is where a lot of the companies here in Chennai have their offices, and universities, like tech schools. By all means, they look like a super developed, fancy, cool tech building area. If you turn around on the other side, there's this building which looks completely abandoned. We thought it was abandoned as we drove by, but no, like it
Oh, is this the station? The subway station.
It belongs to private property. You are not capable to take the
And we were there maybe 15 minutes, and then this lady came in really angry, demanding us to go with her, which got us a little scared. Yeah, it turns out that you can't shoot video inside a train station apparently.
I wonder why.
But Bengaluru, on the other hand,
I wonder why.
Feels like the entire city is that bubble.
Weird.
We've been doing research about Bangalore, trying to understand what goes on in the city. I have not seen a single reference about Bangalore that presents it as a city that would have a place like this. And if this is across the street from our hotel, which is not a fancy hotel, that means that there are places like this all over the city.
Right.
Maybe the street noise is a clue, but either way, this is not the picture of India that I had.
Inequality in
Unequal country.
Unequal society.
Unequal country.
Inequality is once again a common theme when discussing India. And it's real. India is one of the most unequal countries in the world. But once here, it's what I thought I was going to experience. And that takes me back to that $4,000 salary. That is transformative money, but it transforms lives differently.
Indians love to save. The one thing that a lot of Indians aspire to is to buy a home.
In general, the savings rates in India is pretty high, right? Like, so people always have a very high, like, I want to save and I want to buy a house.
Meanwhile, the country still holds on to its roots in spite of all this change.
For example, eating out is a relatively new phenomenon in India, right? Like, people would not eat out so much. If you speak to a lot of people, from my parents' generation, they look at eating out as like, oh, you didn't have the means to cook at home, right? Like, it's not that something they would look forward to. They would do it if they needed to, like if they were traveling. And even if they were traveling, a lot of people would actually carry their supplies and cook there.
Because in the end, these salaries mean opportunity.
Like in India, it's very easy to get domestic help, right? You want a nanny for your kid, you want a driver to drive your car, you want somebody to come help to cook for you.
Everybody here probably has like at least one or two people, doing cleaning and cooking for them. That person is probably making around $500.
All of this is happening in one of the world's youngest countries, a country on its way to being the most populated in the world. Imagine the potential that India has. Thousands of young professionals earn big salaries in the careers that are shaping the present and future, with more on the way. When we covered Silicon Valley, we talked about that network effect, we talked about access to capital, we talked about talent and the concentration of startups in the same place. And all of that is here. And add to that the fact that Indian entrepreneurs understand selling to developed countries the same way they understand selling to developing countries.
Have you heard of this term, jugaad? Just, creating something out of nothing. That's one of my favorite parts of this ecosystem personally, and I love that word, and I hope you remember it.
Cities like Bengaluru are a bridge. They're at crossroads of two worlds that can disrupt each other. So there is no doubt that a new Silicon Valley is not far from the horizon. But there's something else here. India is a country with a fascinating history that has learned to evolve with the times. We actually explore this in depth in our next video of Startup Planet, where we look at the entire history of Bengaluru and how it became the tech hub that it is today. But for today's point, this engineer's salary is transformative. A transformative salary that ensures a future. Now, I'm not talking about a future from themselves. This is a future for the entire country.
Wow, that is fascinating. That really does sound like India's own Silicon Valley. And some of the things they were describing in the video about the difference between poverty and money being in the same area, that really reminds me of like Silicon Valley, like San Francisco. We've got the tech people with really, really high salaries, and then we've got other people that are homeless. So that really, it seems like the same kind of concepts, just in different countries. It is going to be really, really interesting to see how far India goes in the next, I would say, century, honestly, the next 50 years even. Very, very interesting. A lot of those companies I had no idea came out of India. But yeah, I'm shocked that $4,000 per year is like a lot in India, but cost of living is much lower, so it makes sense. But yeah, I was just shocked to hear that number. I just had no idea. So I can see why someone in India would definitely go into tech. you know, because our world is definitely heading into that kind of era. Even though there was a tech downfall, I think we're going through a recession or whatever with tech, you know, layoffs and things, but surely it will come back up again, and you know, people in tech will be in demand. I feel like it's just kind of, I feel like it's inevitable that tech is going to be in demand in the future as well, because you know, this world is transforming and has already transformed into the tech world. So I think it's just going to go even more further than that. I'm going to be checking out how Bangalore, India is outpacing Silicon Valley. So this is kind of like a, I guess like a part 2 of what we just watched. I'm going to learn more about the city through this video, and I guess the comparisons between Silicon Valley and Bangalore, which was what I was just really touching on. So I'm intrigued to watch this next video to see what he has to say. So thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more reaction videos from me, and leave any reaction video recommendations down below. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you all at my next video. Bye guys.